Good morning, Breakfast Club family. This is your Mark Stevens, your co-host with your host, Joe Shoup. This is July 11th, 2017. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. Got an exciting program for you today, part 2 of onboarding. What you need to know, how to do it, what you need to do with your people. So good morning, Joe. How you doing?
I am fantastic and amazing. How about you?
I am heading to phenomenal today.
All righty, so we're gonna get right into this. We'll just just cover a few things first. I think Shirley's typing in there Breakfast Club on YouTube, how to get over there. That's number one. If you have any questions, you can send them to the Breakfast Club broadcast at gmail.com. Let me say that again. Shirley, if you type that in for us, the Breakfast Club broadcast at gmail.com. And for those that want information, we'll be talking about the communication class. Same thing, send it to the Breakfast Club broadcast at gmail.com. Make sure you include your phone number when you send emails or responses or requests. Please make sure you do a signature, which is your full name and phone number, so I can get back to you. Anyway, onboarding. What it really means. We covered this 2 weeks ago. And it's really getting your person, your new member, orientated quickly. And it's getting them used to the organization. Because a lot of people are a little timid coming into organizations. And it's important that we cover the basics, show them how to get started. So we do have a welcome letter. We'll be covering that during this little webinar, and it tells them how to physically get started with a power of 3, with 7 rings. It shows them the steps to registration, how to feed your wallet, how to get a new person started, how to pay it forward. But there's more steps than that. Because even though that takes place and once that's done, then what? Then what does someone do? Because I think, Mark, that's the biggest problem is that people just don't know what to do because all they've been taught over the years is let's talk to everybody we know and see what we can come up with. And it just doesn't seem to work. What about you?
Well, that's generally what happens. And as well, even though we have this phenomenal paper, a manual, if you will, to have people get started correctly, they still have to take time to read it and they still have to enact it and do it properly. Yeah, you know, as we always say, everything comes with a manual, and we have it here. And really, we've had some people to really do it and actually get it right the first time. But I think it's probably a number of people that haven't gotten it right because we still see some mistakes and things of that nature. But I guess with what we'll do today, maybe that'll, kind of really help them out there and everything. So you're absolutely right, Joe.
I see that Shannon says my screen says watch this video on tube playback on other websites has been disabled. It's not been disabled on our end. So I'm assuming that other people, Shirley, if you would type in yes or no, or you are on YouTube, I assume, watching this, and other people are there also putting comments in? Yes or no? Just type it in there. So, anyway, we'll get that handled, Shannon. I don't know what that is. You might, I think Colleen or Shirley should be able to help you with that. Yeah, Mark, this is the ongoing problem in the industry when people have to go to work and build a company themselves. And look, let's face it, that's what we're doing. Whether people like it or not, you somehow have to start with a registration and then find some other people. At this case here, I mean, believe it or not, in this case here, our goal is to find 3 people. Everybody on this planet could find 3 people, adults anyway, could find 3 people who have an interest in maybe a career change for the right money, additional income, having a successful business from home, it can't get any simpler than finding 3 people who you could pay it forward for that would do the same thing. Now, it is a simple process, and it is a lucrative opportunity. Just have to pay attention. But if we get down to the basics, which is I have to have people to talk to, and I know people are struggling with that. Some people buy leads, they have old lists, they join new companies that tell them they're going to, build the list for them. And my problem with all that is you still have to know how to communicate the message once you get them. Now, some of the people who are involved in programs where it appears as though a company's going to build it for you, they never have any real communication with those people in a lot of cases. Some cases, yes. But in a lot of these cases, they still don't have communication with people, and therefore no real connection, no comfort. You'll see that as we get to part 2 here. And I know there are people here that have registered, joined the company, were referred by someone, and still struggling to find those 3 people. And I just think they don't understand what it takes. So we'll look at an onboarding. Let me go ahead and share my screen, Mark. And
okay, Joe, while you do that, let me say something. What you just mentioned, a lot of those companies, they don't know how to communicate. The ones that say that just get in or pay your money or whatever, and we'll build it for you. We'll bring in people. They don't do it because they don't know how. And this is why we say time and time again, terminology and perception, it has to make sense. You have to know how to communicate with people. And I can tell you this, we've had people bring in 3 people in one day, Joe. And the reason that I know is I have gotten calls from people and have done 3 ways for them. And what I leave them with is, Joe, when you get Bill, enrolled, call me back so that I can officially welcome Bill to the company. And I have had those calls back, and that makes me feel good and great. And that's why I say I'm heading to infinity, because it's happening. And when people follow the instructions, and when you do it as a team, it works. It's proven that it works. But people have to be willing to take advantage of what we're offering. It's that simple.
Mark, can you see my screen?
Not yet. I was getting ready to say something. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so I did something wrong here. Hold on. Let me just.
So while you're doing it, I want to encourage everybody that has a, consider the communication class. Consider doing that. It's very important. Now I see it, Joe.
Okay. All right. So it's funny you say that. I wish Angela was on there. Maybe she is. Angela, if you are on the Breakfast Club right now, would you type in and say hello on the box there? And Mark, keep an eye on that. I can't see the screen once I screen share. See if someone called Angela actually responds and says hello, if she's there. And I'll just tell you that Angela recently took the class. I wish I could tell you from an experienced networker who has built very large organizations in a major company that all of us know, having a very, very large database. I should say income from there. That just took the class, Mark. Now we're talking a 20-year veteran here. And boy, I wish with her permission, I could make the comments that she made to me yesterday. So I won't do it without her permission. So anyway, here we are. I'm not going to even do a review. We've kind of just done a review. What it takes, get people, organized, help them be organized, get yourself organized, and get a new person on board properly. So we'll take the steps here to look at that. But here's the keys. The first day we're going to look at, and the first week. And I guess we could cover this in the 90 days. And we'll be back with part 3 to cover the rest of this. But we want to look really at the first day and the first week today. So here's what happens first day. After registration, Mark just said this, introduce your new member to a minimum of 2 other members. It's not a social event. It's an event that takes place to assure the new member that he or she is not alone. That's the purpose of it. And so many of you are missing that. So many of you are missing that. Just failing to make that phone call. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is so, but I can tell you here, it's the first day, the very first thing that should happen after registration is to assure them that they are not alone, that this isn't the only person you'll be talking to. A minimum of 2 people needs to be called. If you're not doing that, you're starting your business off wrong. You're not doing justice to the person who you have just brought to a good, family, a good community. People that want to help, like Mark just said. You should get yourself in tune and educated to be able to do that. It takes just 3 to 4 minutes to say hello, welcome to the company. We have a good support team here. If you need anything, I'm sure that Mark will help you. Joe will be introducing you to other people. So first day, critical. If you're taking notes, this ought to have a big star on it. Send a welcome letter. We created a welcome letter. And that document is a step-by-step instructions on how to fund your wallet for the purpose of paying it forward for your new members. Now, at this stage, you should understand that you're going to be doing that because that's what was done for you. This company has a pay it forward program or process. Introduction, go right to this letter. Now, you do not have to sit there on this letter and take them through the whole thing verbally. You can if you want and walk them through it to get them acclimated. I know this, and Mark will confirm this. Anybody who gets their hands on this letter, a brand new person, can walk themselves through step by step without another person on the line. I know you can verify that, Mark.
Yes, I can. It's amazing. And again, let me say this. I want to give kudos to you, Joe, and the people that helped you to put this together because, first of all, we have to think like this. When you think about J.C. Hill and Dr. Robert A. Needham, the humanitarians that they are and what they put together for all of us and the time that they put in. And Joe, you might probably have 30 hours now into getting this letter together yourself. That takes a lot of time and energy. And what we want everyone to understand is that what we have here, we are building a micro business enterprise. This is not a hobby. Again, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. But if you treat it like a micro business enterprise, and this co-op that we have, it's going to take you to a whole new another level. And this welcome letter is the key. And that's why first day, it is the key. So it does work.
Yes. And for those of you who say, well, I want that letter, why don't I have it? Some of you have sent me notices and requests for the letter. Some of you didn't even tell me your name or a phone number because before until the company actually posts this for you in the back office, if they choose to do that, then the process is to call me and send me the request with your phone number. That's number one. And the reason for that is to make sure you're actually in the company, because there are people on this call who may listen to this on a replay or even live now and say, hey, I want that document. Well, I'm not giving it to people who are not in the company. So I got to make sure that, so when you call me, we'll be talking about that. Who the sponsor is, we'll verify that, and then you'll get the document. It only makes sense. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
Yeah, it does, because the other thing is that, as JC has made clear, we don't want everything out there in the ether. People, on YouTube putting out videos, putting out things and throwing this out there, and they're not even in the company or whatever, or even those that are in the company doing those types of things, because we're trying to protect what we have and the people that are members of this co-op. So that's very important. That's a great statement that you just made. That's something that has to be adhered to.
Okay, so registration, introduction, welcome letter, a step-by-step instruction, and therefore people then will be able to go in and get themselves set up for business. At this point, we don't have any real income-generating activity yet, and that's what we need to get to. But without this, you're not getting there. So you have to start engaging. How do you do that? Well, it's up to us to give the new person activities or tasks to complete the very first day. And these tasks really are going to the back office, and it's education. Need to be educated here. Most people do not have any clue how this particular, or for that matter, any compensation plan works. Most people get into a company and they don't know how it's working. I am one of those people. When I am with a new company, I don't know how the comp plans are working completely. So we have to study them. And this is a great place to do that, right in your back office. So you're going to give that new person, you send them the welcome letter. They're going to get acclimated to the process, right? And you'll want to get back with them. So my process, Mark, would be this, is to introduce them, send them the welcome letter. If they have time right there, I say, go over this document, make sure you follow step by step, a check mark on each step, the wallet, mass, over to 7 rings, check them off. We have people not checking things off. They're skipping steps and creating confusion for themselves and me, because they call and say, well, I don't understand this, because they're missing tasks. I spent maybe 40 minutes a couple of weeks ago because someone didn't do one of the tasks and couldn't figure out why they couldn't do this and why this wasn't working. And it was simply checking off a box, saving their information. And you'll see that in the instructions on the welcome letter. So then it's go do that and set an appointment. Let me tell you, it is so important to set an appointment with people, whether it is a new member or whether it's a prospect. That's why we make phone calls, is to set appointments. So you should find out from that new person, when will you be able to take a look at the welcome document? Well, I'm at work today. Okay, tonight, that'd be great. So when you get home, I know you have family time and all. I'm available tonight at 8, or would 8:15 be better? We can get back together again and schedule a time so that you can help them go over that welcome letter, make sure they've done everything correctly, followed the plan, and then you can give them these other tasks, but you want them to complete that first. So here's the tasks to be given people. Need to go to the back office and go to your support files. There's videos, PDF documents, And every one of these is very significant. So there's the steps. Get to those support files. Why? Here's why. Now, in the support files, I'm not sure that these videos exist. I know this. They're in your welcome letter. There are other videos back there, but these are a little different. I think Dr. Needham's might be back there, but these other two, both of these videos are JC explaining the compensation plan for both programs. Where do you get them? On the document, the welcome document. It is part of the activity that you need to perform. The first one is about 9 minutes. The second one, 7 rings, is 24 minutes. And Dr. Needham's talk is a Breakfast Club webinar. It's probably 30 or 40 minutes, where Dr. Needham explains the co-op business model. Now, that's enough activity to get a person started. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
Yes, and it's so important because Joe, you did a great job in cropping this and bringing it down because it was a little longer. So it's not taking as much time as it could take before. And the thing is, another thing that's important, if your new member that comes on board doesn't do this, that kind of tells you something. Can they follow directions? Are they really committed? Because if they are, they're going to do this, and they're going to follow the letter from A to Z. It's very important.
We do not want to overwhelm people in the beginning. You can see the task. It's a very, very simple process. If you have any questions about it, put it in there so that Shirley and Colleen can handle those. Okay, now that you've done your education, and that's about all you're going to need to really know to get started, the things we just covered. So the next step is, okay, let's establish a game plan. A game plan for activity. That's what the game plan is about. You need a tangible roadmap that attracts the people you're looking for and then help them be successful. Look, that should be written on your wall. Did I establish a game plan? Do I have a plan in place? And you'll see what kind of a plan we're talking about in a minute. Your job, when you go to work with or for a company, regardless of whether it's here in the home business arena or it's a brick and mortar business, your job is to help that company be successful. Without the company, you don't have a job. Without you following a pattern and doing what the company laid out for us to be successful, without doing that, we don't have a company. So it takes this effort from everyone. It takes a willingness to want to help other people, in my opinion. You can't just put your husband, your wife, one of your kids, a friend in this business and say, I have my 3. That is not the plan. The plan is to find people who also want to be successful working from home and want to help others. Help enough people, right? JC says that all the time. Help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. So you have to establish a game plan. How do you do that? The first thing you need is what is called a CCMP, a clear, concise mental picture of the thing you want to achieve. Now look, we call that our why. Why are we doing this? But take a look at the words. Clear, concise, mental picture. Now let me add to that, and it needs to be written down. Mark, I struggled with this probably the first year in business. I didn't have a clear, concise plan. I came into this over 20 years ago with an excitement after going to a meeting And all they told me was to go find people. And I found out real quick in that first 6 months that most of the people I knew weren't interested in what I had. All the connections I had from my prior brick and mortar business of 18 years, none of those people were interested in what I had. So for the industry to teach you, just go to all your friends, everybody will join you, they'll love you, you'll build this big company. I think the only reason they did that is they didn't know how to find other people. Today, we have many other ways. We have email campaigns, marketing tools, we have social media, we have business meetings, we have opportunity meetings. There's ways to find new people. You can't run out of ways to find people. You can't run out of people. We build it out of a phone book before the days of the no-call list, right out of a phone book. That's who we called, just like real estate people do, insurance people. That's what they did. In fact, that's where we learned it from, because our leader in the industry was an ex-insurance guy, and he taught us how to do that. So today there's a better way. Some people want to do this without talking to people. I tell you, that's a mistake. But right now, take a couple of weeks, a month. I don't know how long it's going to take for people, Mark, to find out why they're working towards a goal. What is the goal? Why are they here? Do they want to buy a new car they've always wanted? It can't be just because they want to make money. There's no emotional attachment to that. And my mentor taught me there has to be an emotional attachment to this why. So probably until you find that, you probably won't go to work properly. You'll probably just treat it like a hobby. So, clear, concise, mental picture of the thing you want to achieve and write it down. So, what you have to do is create a routine. This is one of the key elements of success, is to create a routine. And your objective is to refer 3 people. 3 people. Now, it can't get any simpler than that. In order to do that, 90% of your time has to be spent searching for new members. When you decide, you'll see in a second, when you're going to work, 90% of that work has got to be finding those 3 people. Where? We'll talk about that. But that's the routine. Decide what work days you're going to work. If you do not create a routine, if you don't have the designated days that you're going to work, you're not going to work. You'll treat it like a hobby. That's what will happen. That's what most of the people have done. It's one of the reasons for failure. It's not always the company. It's not always communication. It's part of it, a lot of times. But it's because you haven't decided what days you're going to work. What days are you off? Are you going to sacrifice that spare time you have? And if you are, what days are they going to be? And you know what? The people that you work with should know what those days are, so they can help. They can do 3-way calls for you. Decide what time of day during it. Can't be all day. Well, unless you say, hey, Wednesdays I'm working 6 hours. And those 6 hours have got to be spent on searching for new people, not shuffling papers, not talking about the business. All that can be done at various times in playtime, hobby time. But work time, it is making those phone calls. What time of day would it be? Decide what activities in this routine. What will it be? Will it be phone calls to everybody you know? I know that we have a guy, Craig, who that's what he does. Has a network of people, and he makes those calls. He goes to work. He works a full-time job and then comes back home, goes home, and he works the business. He knows what days and what times he's going to do it and what activity he's going to perform. Most of it, my assumption is that it's phone calls to the people he knows over the years. I've known Craig a long time. And we're very pleased to have him because of some of the networkers that he has brought into the company, builders, I should say. They're not just networkers, they're builders. So there's the routine for working. These are called income-generating activities. Days of work, what time you're going to do it, and what activities are you going to perform. What income-generating activities, and that is making those phone calls. Now, the question is, what do you do during those phone calls? That's another issue. But this is first. You got to decide when, where you're going to work, in an office. Is it in your car? Is it driving home? Or is it a sit-down time to make those calls or make those contacts? Some people will choose it's going to be spending an hour or two posting. I tell you that's good if you know that arena, but you better know how to actually talk to those people, whether it's during a chat or live. You still better know. That's what Mark said earlier about the communication class. It's another issue. Put aside time for the education. What does that mean? Well, the back office. You can get educated in the back office. Watch the videos again. Listen to more recordings. That's all back there. And then learn to communicate effectively. And that's where the network of communication class comes in. If you don't know how to speak, whether it's verbal or written, going to lose the person that you actually attracted. How do you speak to those people? What do you say to them? What do you send them? I get lots of calls about that, even seasoned people who say, well, what do I send? How do I do that? So we're going to cover that. I don't know what time it is, Mark. Looks like we're at the bottom of the hour. I can't see the clock.
Yeah, it's 12:35.
So is this not the end? Because there's part 3. What you need to do, if you haven't really started your business, then there's the starting point of getting on board for yourself, and that helps your new person. If you're not doing what we just covered, then your new person isn't going to do it, because how can you teach them? You can give them the welcome letter. Now, this webinar is available as soon as we're done. And those that don't have the replay link, they can always go if Colleen or Shirley, and Shirley or whomever would type that in, where to go to get the replay. In case they don't have the replay link, they can just go to YouTube, type my name in, my full official name, Joseph Shoup, in the search in YouTube, and you'll find the videos.
And Joe, those that are maybe as new to the call, and another thing is that they can go and get the one 2 weeks ago as well, and look at them both, and it'll bring them right up to date in the 2 sessions that you've done. Because let me say this is very important. Success and lack of success, the difference is belief. And again, when you have the information, when you've studied the information, like I said, it gets rid of that 800-pound gorilla, the phone, or how to approach people, or how to interact with people. And that's where the communication class comes in. So we have all the education that you need in the back office and the communication class, and it's there for a reason. And it can help with you being successful or lack of success. Believe.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the class for a minute. I mean, I'm saying this because it is such an important element. I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago who never bothered to look at the class and thinks that building this without speaking to people, just doing it online through Facebook, is going to bring success. And I believe they're in for a sad awakening over, probably in the next 6 months. But we talk about this communication class, and most people have heard about it, and they say, probably to themselves, yes, I've been through these classes before. And I can tell you, once you take the class, you won't be saying that you were not through this. I mean, I have a few people that say, I learned a bunch of this before, I saw this, but I got this out of it. I did see that. And I just can't stress enough the importance of learning to communicate your message to people, especially people that you come in contact with physically. You're in person with them and not knowing what to say and really wishing you had the right dialogue. Now, I'm not saying that that's what you do, run out and recruit people you meet on the street, because you could. I mean, Mark does a great job of meeting people when he goes out. He talks to business owners because he knows the dialogue. He knows that he's comfortable with everything. But until you learn what it takes to make a phone call or to talk to somebody in person, how to present, how to give them your link, how to set an appointment with them, the steps to the phone call. I mean, most people don't even know there's steps to it. Most people don't even know when they say, tell me about your company, that there are steps to that, explaining this, and this. Company, how long they've been around, who the company is, how long they've been around, how many countries they service, what the company does, and then what we do as individuals, because it's certainly different than the company. We don't do what JC does. They're building the company structurally. We're building it through networking. Different stories. A whole IBM, the salespeople don't do what the IBM company does. They all have different functions. So you learn that and understand. But most people don't understand that there's parts to these conversations which enables them to get a better hold on what they're doing. And not being afraid to run into someone or not being afraid to pick up that phone. Until you learn that, I suggest that you're going to struggle. You're going to be exactly where you were 2 years ago. And I say that with confidence because I know that most people fail at this business, are still struggling to say, how do I get that paycheck? Follow the plan in this company, what we put forth today. Start over again. Go back and look at it and make some notes on what you should be doing. Follow the pattern and the routine. Once you do that, you'll be able to pass that on. And what you will have is a well-oiled machine that is duplicated over and over again. And in order to be successful, you must be part of a system whereby referring people never stops. And that's what I will finish up with today. So I'll turn it over to you, Mark, and thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay, well, one of the things to keep in mind, the co-op creates opportunity, and what we do with the communication class and all the other things that we do is we show you how to take advantage of the opportunity, because that's what everybody is looking for. They are looking for a way to change their lives. They're looking for ways to have more income, to provide more for their families, to get rid of the stress and everything. And we have the answers. We have something that we can offer the world. And the thing is that, do you believe it? And if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you believe it, then you will take the time to learn what we have there, because all the information is there. And, Joe, I'm quite sure you enjoy it as much as I do, that when someone knows how to introduce you for a three-way and it ends up successful and you helping them get them to registration, and then you've got a new member to work with, and then you work with them and do the same thing, and it happens over and over and over. That's how you build a co-op, and that's how you build a team. Am I correct?
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're at the end of the time for the day. We, again, as Joe said, we thank you all for coming. the recording should be out shortly. It's been 2 weeks since you heard the first part. So go back to the first part, listen to that, listen to the second part, and be back here next week at the same time, 12 Eastern, noon, and you will get part 3. And I guarantee you that if you take advantage of it, study it, and use it, your business will continue to grow. So with that being said, peace and blessings to everyone. Again, thank you for coming. Thank you, Joe, for the teaching. And everyone, go out and make it a great day, make it a great week. And we'll look for you next week back here at the Breakfast Club. Peace and blessings, everyone. Make it a great day.